Jambo Africa. Hello and welcome to another episode of African Football Connect. My name is Mahlatse Mphahlele. Today, for the second week in a row, it's me and Coach Greg Etafia. I'm sure you're surprised on this dress code. He's wearing this thing because he says he's ready for Thursday.
No, Thursday. South African team are coming back. They're coming back home. It's time now. The holiday is over now.
Holidays now.
No, the holiday. They must start going for shopping now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. They're gonna play third place, so they can. Move
So
to the other hotel.
So at the under 20 AFCON, South Africa against Nigeria.
It's gonna be
It's
massive.
done.
No. We're talking about finals. Before the tournament started,
Yeah.
I told you. I said
No chance for South Africa.
No. Against Nigeria. Top.
So you guys are going to win this thing?
No, it's giving, It's giving. The Flying Eagles, they are there to win the tournament. That's why they went early to prepare.
Well, South Africa is still sitting here.
South Africa is still playing against a Mosipe League team there. But anyway, they did very well. The main priority is for them to qualify for the World Cup in Chile. And they are there now. And basically, I think, South African football, on the rise now, because you talk about the Champions League, you talk about Stellenbosch, Orlando Pirates, Sundowns, who are in the finals now. Basically, they're going to win it. We hope they win it to give other space, to other teams that's in the league. And they're going for the Amajimbos. They're going for the World Cup
in 17 World Cup.
Qatar,
Amajita now.
Chan.
Chile. The Chan team has qualified.
I mean, it's massive. You credit to the PSL.
The ladies are also going to AFCON.
Yeah, credit to the PSL, credit to the league. Credit to everyone in the SAFA. Although they need to improve in a lot of things, but credit to the country generally. Football is on the rise now in South Africa in terms of what the national team are doing. And a lot of countries are scared of South Africa now when they meet them, including Nigeria, It's not going to be easy because, qualifying to the World Cup is almost done if they can win, probably 2 games, So, I think, it's good. It's good atmosphere in South Africa now.
Yeah, and also, just to add on that if you see the national teams are doing very well, it shows the strength of the league.
That's that's credit must be given to the PSL. The league is, we know basically the league attracts a lot of people to come and play in terms of money-wise, in terms of African. Forget about the North African, talking about, in South Africa, we know that the league is strong, and that shows in the Champions League, with the 2 clubs that get to the semifinals, one in the final now. Basically, we hope for them to win it. With the quality they have, we think they can do that. Stellenbosch, getting to semi-finals. So you can see, and that rubs to the national team. Remember when South Africa won the 96 AFCON? The league was strong and players were in overseas there, So, and Pirates were there. They just won the
Champions
League that time before the AFCON. So, it's improvement, and I'm just so happy. I'm just so happy for everything.
Yeah. Now, if you look at, we'll get to Nigeria now. If you look at this South African national team, they have done so well under 20.
Yeah.
The captain got injured in the first match. Tiwane from Sundowns is out.
Yeah.
They also didn't get Mbogazi, this young player from Pirates.
Yeah.
Because Pirates were preparing for the final of the Nedbank
Cup.
Chandra Campbell, who is in Belgium, is not even there.
Yeah.
It really bodes well for the country that even if 3 key players are not there, they can still perform at the level they're performing.
That's massive. You can see, and if imagine you add those 3 players going to the World Cup, probably, the clubs, because it's World Cup, the clubs have to release those players. They're going to be more stronger, and the objective is for them to qualify to Chile, and they are there now. I think, they have this massive future in this team. You can see, even, what's his name? Number 15, Lazo Marco.
Yes.
Yeah, he's in the, the group stage. You have this best 11. Yeah. He is there. He's there in the midfield.
In the team of the group stage.
Yeah, in the group stage. He has. You can see, and they have done so well. This one team, I really feel that, if they can, go in terms of how they look after the players, in terms of their progression, you're going to see a lot of players in the senior national team.
We can't not talk about the coach.
He
has done very well.
No, he has done very well. The whole technical team too. Give credit to them. They have done very well. How they prepare the preparation before the tournament and what they have achieved now. Credit to the team and credit to everyone, the technical team, everyone from the physiotherapists to the players, everyone in that team. I think they've done very well.
And Nigeria.
No. The Flying Eagles are there for business. And on Thursday, as I said to you earlier, on Thursday is the end of the road
This is
for
semi-finals
yeah,
for
it's
South
the end of the
Africa.
road for South Africa. You know,
South Africa are just gonna play for third.
No, they have to play for third place. You know, because I mean, this is Flying Eagles. You know, we want to take the cup. Going to Chile, we want to be the champion in Africa. So yeah, I mean, they have done so well to get to that stage. On Thursday, I think it's time for them to. They must start packing their bags now. Yeah, so they just keep one or two things out, not too many things, you know.
To leave the hotel.
Yeah, so yeah, to leave the hotel because they need space, you know. The Nigerian team needs space. But anyway, I think it's going to be a very good game.
Yeah,
you know, it's going to be a very good game. South African team have shows for the past that they can play, they can match any team. So Nigerian team, you know, for them to qualify, it was true penalty, you know. And the keeper, Harcourt, did very well to save 2 penalties for Nigeria. You know, I mean, it's just close. But now I know playing against South Africa is always that rivalry. You know, even from the senior team to the junior team. So I think it's going to be a good game to watch.
Do you think these young boys will understand or will fully understand the rivalry that exists between South Africa and Nigeria?
You know, most of the players that play for Nigerian team and South African team, they play for one of 2 big teams in South Africa. So they know that they have that feeling. You know, they always want to, you know, put their name in that high space, you know. And playing against Nigeria, you know, everyone always say that Nigeria is a powerhouse, but not this time around because South Africa have stepped up. I think this team, you know, I'm so happy for this team, you know, this South African team. They have done so well that they need kudos to be given to them.
No, definitely. We'll definitely be glued to our screens on Thursday, 6 o'clock.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a big one, South Africa and Nigeria. It doesn't matter at what level they meet. There will be.
It's always big rivalry there.
It's always big rivalry, which is good for the game. I think, Greg, when we start stepping off on this issue, as we've been saying for the past few weeks now, our guy Virile Munyandu is there in Egypt. I think I must send them to the Nigeria camp.
No,
go and spy there.
No, this time around they don't allow him. They don't allow him to come. They will stop him from the gates. This time we have serious business.
He's not allowed to go to the training.
No, this time around there's serious business to be taken care of.
Yeah. He has been doing a lot of work behind the scenes, and I think let's hear some of the reactions from the boys, meaning South African players, after their win against DR Congo earlier in the week.
Indeed, it was a tough game, something that we knew, obviously. In the first interview, I said it's a 90-minute thing. It's a 90-minute game. It's not about a draw where you can get points. So sometimes, tactically, it might not work out, but you need to have the character. If you check the first half, they put us under pressure. I think they did very good analysis on how we play. But the second half, we came back. We were able to close out the gap. But at the same time, making sure that we become very disciplined, more especially in defense. And also at the same time where we are caught up, then we want character from the boys to say we need to die for it. You could see some of the balls that we blocked that they were attempting to score. So that's the character that we told ourselves to go on with. But other than that, it was a very difficult match. Yeah, well, sometimes under pressure you don't have to forget to think. Because it frustrates, yes, but you need to look at the opponents and also check areas where you can explore. Of which we did by neutralizing the number 5, who was the central midfielder in front of the back 4. So he was collecting all the second balls. We were always under pressure, so we were able to neutralize that and also put some fresh legs on the striker because he has been chasing. And well, honestly, it was not an easy journey. But I remember in our first camp that we did, we had a program to say we need to qualify for COSAFA, we need to qualify for AFCON, we need to qualify for the World Cup. And this is the main objective. I understand countries on other teams might want to win the trophy, but you compare it, this is the core of the tournament. So I think it's job well done to the boys.
Yesterday in the TSG, the CAF TSG, they were very complimentary of how South Africa plays and also sticking to it. In fact, the former Mtidi also saying that this is also one of our advantages. What do you say to this?
Yeah, fortunately, he was there when we started the program. He understands how we wanted to do it. We knew where our strength is, to say if we keep the ball and move the ball, get into spaces, close the spaces, we become a better team. And you could see in the second half, we were coming close into playing how we play, putting the ball maybe in the middle, going wide. When it's only when we are wide when we can take some runs and so on. But in the middle, counter pressing, win the ball, then play out. I think it just worked for us since we started with this very thin group. It's a thin group because we only had about when we came here we had 21 players. Because of the challenge of our league at home, and we got an injury from the captain, so we're very, very lean, but we were forced to do with what we have, and that's why I'm saying credit to the boys. To the boys, they did a very good and wonderful job for the country.
They don't get bigger and better like this. To be a man of the match is something special. But firstly, just your reaction on the World Cup qualification.
We've always wanted to. That was our main objective. And asiphumelele siyabulela kakhulu uThixo. Singaza qhubekeke ke asifikise ku final qha ngokushota yona.
A very tough game. How would you describe it?
Very physical. Amajita makhulu lana DRC Congo, but at least we managed to defend the set pieces because they were strong on the set pieces also, but we managed. So and then we couldn't concede it and got a late goal in the extra time. Yeah.
Did they also make it difficult for you to play your normal football on the ground, because we saw you trying to catch them more with the long ball?
Yeah, we tried, but it couldn't happen because they have the body structure. They're big. They were tall, so they could get to our balls. But sometimes we tried at least to play it on the ground. But yeah, we just had to, man.
And now Nigeria.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. It's gonna be a tough one, but we are ready. Yeah.
So now it's Nigeria, and then it's just 2 games left. For me, I feel like we can go all the way. I don't know about you though.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. We finished with our first objective. Now we're going to the second one, and it's just two more games of sacrifice, hard work, as we always say. And then we've got the gold and taking it back to South Africa. We've created chances that we could have scored.
What happened there? Hey. What happened there?
Showcase South Africa be shoots. Take
us through that chance, Langa. How just describe it for us. Yeah.
I won't lie, it was laid on a platter for me to eat, and then I took my touch, went on my right foot.
Did you pick a spot or
I wanted to shoot like opposite the keeper, but I don't know what happened. Yo. Thanks to Tabang, yo. Sizilu Tabang, yes.
What does this qualification mean to you?
Oh, it's so big for my career. It's so big for my country. It's just big for the football industry, and I'm really, really excited about it. I'm really excited. It's going to be my first, this is my first AFCON.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to now doing the World Cup. Good for my career. Amazing experience. So I'm looking forward to it.
I was asking the guys, especially from the medic side, you've done some great work.
Yeah.
The boys were really complaining about fatigue, especially after the last game.
Yeah.
Today. What was done to revitalize them?
I think me and my colleague, the physio, we sat down and we had a plan that even though it's just the 2 of us, we'll make time to massage them, they rest enough, there's ice baths. So we have been resting. You know, the preparations were done before we came here, so it's just those touch-ups and we don't have to train the whole day. So resting is very essential.
Your word to was MC?
Oh, don't be any lamanje. From MSinger to the world. I'm really grateful because they've been very supportive. I get messages on my social media accounts, phone calls. Everyone has been very supportive, and I'm really grateful for my community and hometown.
All right, Greg, we come back now. We stay in Egypt. At every tournament now, you'll always find the technical study group.
Yeah.
The people who look at the tournament, They look at the trends in the tournament. They look at the players. They analyze what's happening there in the tournament. From a South African perspective, I mean, we do have Walter Steenbok, who's the former SAFA technical director, and also a Nigerian legend, Daniel Amokachi, among the people who are part of that CAF technical study group. How important is this technical study?
It's very important. You know, the new trend in football, you know, most of the coaches, they go to courses, you know, for them to improve their tactical and technical ability in terms of how they handle situation in the game. And the tournament, that's where you see different tactical aspects, you know. So, and it's good for, you have this group that, you know, the trend, what is happening in terms of, you know, football generally, you can see there, because you watch different teams. You watch teams from Nigeria, Egypt, not Africa, how they handle their situation, because we always knew them about set piece, you know. Now it's a different aspect because other elements come into the game too, you know, the DRC. So in West Africa, the North Africa, the southern region, you always, you know, you want to see what is happening so that from there on, you know, they have that, you know, that meeting and say, okay, this team are playing this way, you know, every World Cup, you have that technical group that comes and say 3-5-2, 4-4-2, which one is suitable in this situation. And so, I mean, it's very important for you to have this kind of group.
Is there something that you've noticed from this tournament, from these kids, how they sort of play football, or maybe let's say the way this tournament has unfolded from a tactical and technical point of view?
Yeah, for me, the South African team, you know, I think, you know, they are well coached. You know, credit must be given to the technical team, the head coach. You know, I mean, if you see the goal they score the last game against Zambia, I mean, it's from the rotation of the ball. You know, you can see they know what they're doing. You know, when you have the right back and the left back go high, the two centers back split, and the defensive midfielder come to the middle, and they rotate the ball, and they make how many touches? If I'm not mistaken, about 12. You know, to go and score the goal, you know. I mean, you can see this, you know, South African team is well coached. Most of the team, I really rate South African team in this tournament. They have proven themselves. That's why they are going to the World Cup. This is one team I really focus on in terms of how they play, because we knew them, a lot of players in South Africa. Yeah, Nigerian team, you know, the last game wasn't so, because he went to penalty, you know, it's a game of luck, you know, for you to qualify. And never forget, again, we thought, okay, you know, the Sierra Leone team, you know, but after getting that 4, you know, in their last game,
and I think that was your team.
Yeah, that was my team, you know. But you know, but their captain, he did Camara make the group stage best 11, you know, and which is important. We always say he was the shining star, shining light in that Sierra Leone team. You know, but you know, basically, I think South African team, they have a lot of aspects. If they are trailing, and if they are winning, so they had to know how and when, you know, to keep the results.
And I think also the other thing which is important is to make sure that these kids, when they come back, especially for South Africans, they play for their teams in the PSL, because it's a shame we see these young kids sitting on the bench and not playing or playing. Did you see football?
It's few teams, you know. You have the teams like Pirates, you know, they give opportunity. Stellenbosch, you know, Captain City, Supersport, TS Galaxy, you know. Yeah, I just feel like, you know, other teams can, you know, help at least one or two youngsters. You know, you go to the World Cup or you play the AFCON. I think, you know, one or two youngsters deserve a chance, at least, even not starting the game, you know, be a part of the team, getting 15 minutes, you know, that's how you grow, you know, because basically one of their players going to the World Cup, and from the World Cup, maybe teams can see him there, and, you know, it's good for the club, you know.
All right. Very late caught up with Walter Steenbok and the bull.
Yeah, Daniel Amokachi.
Were you with him in some stage?
Yeah, no, he was my coach when we went to when we were in Tunisia, '94, and Tunisia AFCON. You know, we played 2004 the AFCON. He was one of the coaches there. You know, great guy. He has done so well for Nigeria. I mean, he's a great legend. You know, and everyone loves him in Nigeria. And I'm happy. You know, he's part of this technical community group, which is very important. At least he's gonna give them insight. He that plays the game, you know, one of the guys that play the game in that group, at least, you know, I'm just so happy. He's a very, you know, we call him Dan the Bull.
Yeah.
He's top.
Player,
You know, there's a time he played in Everton there. He substituted himself. He went inside without the coach. giving him permission. He make a substitute. I went and
those are
scored.
the big players.
Yeah,
The big players are like that.
And when Nigeria were doing well, the likes of him, JJ Okocha, the Kano. I mean, you talk about the Atlanta '96. Yes, Leslie Babayaro, Graba Lawal, Emmanuel Babayaro. I think you have that feeling every time you're gonna win games. So that's the one that brought a lot of joy to Nigerian football. I mean, Dan the Bull is always gonna remember in Nigerian history.
I often say that Nigeria will not. I don't know after how many years.
Yeah.
Will not be able to assemble a team as good as that one.
Yeah.
The one that I've just mentioned.
True.
It was a very, very good team.
Yeah, very, very good team. Very, very good team. They did very well. They won a lot of things. They won the AFCON. Went to the Olympics. From the Olympics, you can see that there's a lot of good players among them. You don't forget the likes of Tijani Babangida.
The short guy.
Yeah. There's a lot of stars you can name. In that team. You have Taribo West, Thompson Olia. You have Chidi Nwanu, Uche Gochukwu. You have the likes of Dosu Joseph. You have the likes of Emmanuel Babayaro. Peter Rafai at that stage was going out before Vincent Eyama came. So star-studded team, and they are the one that really lifted Nigerian football high,
You're talking about South Africa qualifying for all these tournaments. Nigeria is nowhere to be seen.
No, we're there. We start with the under 20 first, and before we come and make the proper one with Bafana in August, September, So that one's gonna be tough, but credit must be given to South Africa. Yeah. I think football have really rise a lot in terms of where South African teams are coming from, in terms of continental football, in terms of the national team, and with the junior national team. For now, basically they have qualified for the whole tournament, which is good for the national team and for the league.
Okay, let's hear what Daniel Amokachi and Walter Steenbok and some of the other members of the CAF technical group had to say about the tournament so far.
What has been your impression of the AFCON Under-20 so far?
For me, I think it has been up and downs because I've seen games that has a really good level, a lot of intensity, the speed of passing, the tactical understanding of players. But I've seen games that are also not on a good level, But of course, I understand because the boys are playing every 2 days, and that's very demanding, And also the weather plays a big role, Before some of the games, you can see that it's really, really hot because I played the game myself, and once it's hot, it becomes so difficult for players to put up the best performance. But so far, I'm impressed with a couple of teams in the tournament.
Ideally, as Genk, when you come here, what is the plan? What is the idea? Do you have a target?
Yeah, of course. For us in Genk, our target is to find, or my job is to find the best talent that can match, of course, the level of Genk. Because in the youth of Genk, we have majority of the players are youth national team players, So to find a player to say, yes, this is the player that we must sign, then the player must have a very, very good level, So if we don't have specific positions that we're scouting for. We just have to find. I just have to find a player that is really, really talented, technically, physically. In some positions, of course, physicality counts, but for us, mostly it's technical ability. Yeah.
And in terms of the talent as well, unfortunately, I come from South Africa, and we were in a period where our senior team of the bronze medalist using 90% of the locally based players. Our team is in the Champions League final, the other one was in the semi-final, and we are in the World Cup under 17, and now a chance for this one. What has been your impression of the South African team?
Of course, for me, South African team has been amazing. I've seen, I think, 2 games of South Africa, and I'm really impressed, because even though the players play in South Africa, you can see the intensity, you can see the understanding of the game, the way they pass the ball, the speed of the pass, the technical ability of South African players is really amazing, And for me, I think until now is the most technical team I've seen in the tournament. Yeah.
You sound like someone who's interested in some players there already.
Of course, I've seen a couple of players that I think has a level. A player like Jordi, for me, he has not scored a lot of goals, but he's a player that has shown a lot of quality. Yeah, more than number 9. He's quick, the intensity is there, the runs that he makes, even though sometimes he doesn't receive the ball. I can see those runs, and also Taylor Smith has been so amazing in this tournament. For me, he's one of the best defenders that I've seen in the tournament so far. So, of course, South Africa is doing well, and I like that.
And you've played also with and against a number of South African players before. I'm sure there's some evolution that you've seen.
Yeah, of course. South African has always been like this. For me, if I see a player from South Africa, I always expect technique. Because I played with my brother. I call him Anele. May so rest in peace. I played with him. He was like a brother. We spent a lot of time together, not only on the pitch but also outside the pitch, and all the players that I met from South Africa that I played with, all are technique, So for me, it's something that we cannot take away from South Africa.
You're now taking me a long way back, because you guys arrived there. I remember Anel arrived there as a youngster. What are the things that you remember him with? Because he also used to say, even young boys like Kevin De Bruyne, Thibaut Courtois, that you all grew up together there.
For me, I arrived a bit late. I arrived in Genk in 2012. But okay, he told me a lot of stories on how he grew up there. Almost grew up there with all these boys, But for me, Anele was he was a phenomenon, in terms of technique, in terms of everything on the pitch. He understands the game. He's fearless. For him, I think he was the best right back at that moment for so many years in Belgium. So I don't know the beginning how we started with him in Genk, but of course during the period that we spent together, 5 years together in Genk. We really had a good time, on the pitch. Yeah.
The Bull, let's talk about what has impressed you so far in this tournament.
I think players, coaching. I will talk about coaching, because it's coaching that guides the players to execute what they need to execute on the field. And we've seen a lot of teams that diverge into formations. Coaches will start with the 1-4-3-3 or the 1-3-5-2 or the 4-1-4-1, and if it's not going the way it should be, they make some changes and then they divert to a different formation, and you see things work. That shows you, there's a lot of insight in the minds of the coaches, and for them to put that inside the players to execute it after maybe spending a month or two, I think that's perfect. And days are gone where you see coaches on the touchline running left and right and back. And I'm a coach. I used to do that, but now you see the calmness in the coaches, and sending in the instruction and the players executing it calmly and all that, and that shows a lot. And talking about the players, the trend of coaching, executing a formation and players going down in a goal, but still maintain that calmness and stay focused on what the coach wants on the field. I think is tremendous, and that shows that African football is definitely changing in that age group, because like I've always said, you cannot say African football is growing because it has been there at the top like forever.
You've been based in Ismailia in particular, so you've also been seeing a lot of the South African matches. What has been your impression of them?
I think South Africa has a philosophy I think in that region that they've been doing well. The movement of the players, the fitness of the players, the quick passes, that's something that you love to watch when you watch the South African, and they have, showcased it. From the first game where they played, it's a game that for me I thought they shouldn't lose, but they lost. But the bounce back. The bounce back in the in the next two games, that definitely shows character in the players. And I stay in the same hotel with the team, and I see how the players and the staff interact with themselves. And I had a session too, the anti-doping and monitoring session with them, and you can see the oneness in them, and they want to play football, and it's good to see what. The philosophy is, and what how they keep it going.
Wow, Walter Steenbok. Wow, we are part of this TSG. Tell us more about it. How did it come about?
Yeah, it's just a recognition of the work that I've done in football over a period of time. As a scout and as a coach, and also a coach educator. And of course, as a former technical director of the South African Football Association, so it's just a recognition, but again, an opportunity to share my knowledge, and of course to learn from some of the best minds, in African football, from the director himself, Raul Chipenda, from Daniel Amokachi, from Clementine Toure, and of course the big guy, Magasuba, who has coached teams like Mali, and also Lupopo, who played before, in the Vodacom Challenge in South Africa.
Mm-hmm. I guess this is also an indication that you are valued in African football.
The contribution in the game, will always be there, and this is testament of being a student of the game, and of course investing a lot of time. In myself, but again, in trying to understand what African football needs, from a youth development, from coach education, and of course from a national team perspective. So yeah, this is just a journey, to be able to contribute and share, and of course learn at the same time during the under 20 AFCON tournament.
Mm-hmm. And then just lastly, you must be proud of the South African team. I've been speaking to the legend here, I've been speaking to the scouts. Everyone is raving about the identity of the South African team and how they are also the most balanced team. You must be proud because this is part of your work.
It can be better, but you also remember last year we also had a national methodology workshop where we tried to cement and also align how national teams must play, how to keep the identity, and of course allow the tactical freedom, and of course the technical ability of the players to come out, when they are playing, very, very slow, patient build-up, good decision making. So these are the elements that we have tried to inculcate in the national playing philosophy. But of course, they're not the only team in this tournament, who have really shown the true identity of their own country. There's also been several countries in this tournament, and now going into the quarterfinal, a lot about how teams express themselves. And of course, teams that don't play with a lot of anxiety, will be the teams that, for me, will be able to progress in this tournament.
I would like Walter. You talk about the formation and diversity of play that we have witnessed so far.
Thanks, Daniel, and also thanks for the questions. I think I'm going to pick up only the three trends from the tournament that we have really observed. One, in terms of the tactical flexibility of the teams, we have seen that the majority of teams have continued to use a 1-4-3-3 tactical formation, but we've also seen something very interesting, that some teams also have come up with a 3-4-3, and also the ability of the players in possession to be able to overload a lot of time in the midfield area. Also, one of the trends which is very, very exciting that you are seeing also there is that the impact and the actions coming from the wide areas that are leading to goals. You know, you have seen goals coming from the wide areas, but also players who are either right-footed, playing on the left, and coming on the inside to be able to get into scoring position. So a lot of teams are coming out of the wing position into the central area, and some of the teams also play a little bit lopsided, you know. So instead of having a winger who is much more on the side, they've got a winger who's positioned in and out of the wide areas.
Formation that Walter was talking about, you know, variation of the formations. We've seen countries in the first half who are struggling a bit, and then in the second half, you know, they switch in players and change formations, and then end up to you know, to 1 or 2 goals. You know, that shows the diversity of that coach, and it's good to see in our continent now where we've normally seen coaches on the line. Any young coach that comes in from the line before is batting from one end to the end. We've seen it. I've been a coach, I've done before, shouting on the players and all that. But now you see coaches calm and collected. You know, even when the team goes down, they are all calm and the instruction is going. And if a coach can look into his players' eyes and you know, communicate, you know, positively and get a result, I think we should applaud our, you know, our young coaches from this generation, because definitely they are, you know, they are doing something good. We've seen it in the past, in the last under 17 edition and the under 20 edition now.
Thank you, Daniel. Before, just go ahead. Please go ahead.
And just to add also, in terms of some of the trends that we see, also what we are seeing in this tournament, and is actually consistent with what we are seeing also in the under 17. We are seeing now much more focused, concentrated, and determined players who, even if the situation is difficult for the team, they still continue with what the coach has asked. You know, they don't deviate when the situation is very, very difficult. So a very focused type of player, very concentrated, who are motivated, and of course, they believe a lot in what the coach is saying. In terms of that, the mini stats, also what we have seen in this tournament is that high-level teams that are already going into the quarterfinal, we see that overall touches that a team will have in a match is almost about 560. You know, it's going around 600 touches for teams which are playing at a high level. And in terms of the width of the field, how they open up the play in order to create opportunities, we're dealing around 43.4 meters. And in terms of the squad depth, how the team tries to stay central and be compact when they are out of possession. The distance for some of the best teams in the tournament has been around 27.7. So teams that are progressing have to be able to have more touches, have more percentage of touches, around 60% and above, and have more touches. And of course, the distance in the depth and the distance in the wide are very, very, very consistent for high-performing teams.
So for me, I think the difference between how the teams play compared to Belgium, where I'm based, the difference is really small, because I see some teams that try to play direct. And of course, playing direct means, of course, trying to get up front as quick as possible. I saw some of the teams trying to do that in this tournament. The only difference is that teams that plays direct in Europe, I can say, are always ready for the second ball, you know. Whereby in this tournament, I see teams that play direct but are not ready for the second ball, you know. So the difference is really small. And for the teams that try to build up, of course, I'm seeing all those teams getting to this stage, the next stage of the tournament. We're talking about teams like South Africa, Ghana. There are a few of them that tries to build up Sierra Leone, which is a big surprise to me. For me, those teams are trying to build up. They have a plan to the game, you know, and I think for me that's really interesting to see.
We live in Egypt now at the AFCON U20. We come back home, South Africa. Big news is coming out of Pirates. Initially, Coach Jose Riveiro was supposed to leave at the end of the season. They went to the Nedbank Cup final against Chiefs. They lost. And then the following day, they say he's leaving immediately. Obviously, by the time this show comes out, he would have played his last match against the Golden Arrows, which means by the time the show comes out, he would have already played this last match and left. But maybe let's just look at this man's legacy at Orlando Pirates. I think he came here, people were ridiculing him and all these kind of things, but he turned out to be a very, very, very good coach for the club.
For me, first of all, I've had that opportunity to meet him, on the touchline. He's a gentleman, which is very important. He's a likable guy. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's looking for. He has coached Pirates. For now, a lot of, for them to get to the semifinal in the Champions League, for a very long time, and for them to, head-to-head in terms of competing with Sundowns to the last stage. We know Sundowns is going to win the league, but someone at least giving them that run for their money, I think he must be given credit. Won a lot of cups, which, for me, I just think that's one of his big credits, to be given to him, because he brought the dignity back to Orlando Pirates, in terms of the continent, intercontinental football, local football. And the good part, he introduced a lot of young players from the DZC. Get credit to Duku Makanya, but you still have a coach in the senior national team that gives them a chance, and improve them. You see, if there's one coach you always give credit to, is for a coach to have a player and improve them. And not one, not two, not three. You can count 6, 7 players, even not the whole team of Orlando Pirates that he has improved. Unlucky on the finals, he can go. It's a once-off game. He can go anywhere. He has won it before. He has gotten he has gotten 3 points in terms of playing Chiefs the other week, but in the final you want to win, but the game just went the other way, and I just feel his legacy, for Pirate history, he always going to be remembered for his good things.
Yeah, I've also had a couple of, lots of interactions with the man. Very humble, very respectful, soft-spoken. Not too much noise. There's a lot of people who make too much noise. And, sometimes people who make noise, they're like an empty tin, they make noise, but there's nothing. He really showed that he's a good coach. You talk about improving players. I always give the narrative of Monna Pule Saleng, Monna Pule Saleng, when Coach Riveiro came here, he was just a player, but you could not see what he was doing, and then he was coach, and Evidence Mahopa. It's another one.
From Baroka came to Pirates, become a superstar,
became a very, very good player. After that, Mahopa went on to AFCON in the Cote d'Ivoire. He was a key player for the national team, he finished second behind Sundowns in the league. There's no shame in that, because Sundowns is very strong.
There's no shame in that. That's why I say, what he has contributed for Pirates, I think they need to give, he needs to be, the send-off must be proper, He has done a lot for Orlando Pirates, and Pirates must be proud for them to have a coach like this, he worked with his heart, done everything that is there, for them to achieve. Pirates is a well-respected team now in the continent, in the local league, in terms of, for me, when a coach improves players, that's the biggest plus in everything you do. You can have a team, but if you can improve individual players, because if you improve individual players, they become a collective. Now you can win something, and he has done that so well.
3 successive MTN 8, 2 successive Nedbank Cups. It could have been 3 had they won over the weekend. A lot of success, but there's a big but with the coach. You played professional football, winning the league. That is one thing that he will look back and with a little bit of regret, maybe.
That's, for me too, there's a time when I played for Swallows, we came second. We just a goal different with Orlando Pirates. That's when, the other coach won the league, before he came, I think, winning the league for a player, for a coach is the ultimate. You can win all those trophies, but winning the league, that shows that how good you are. It's a 30 game. For you to play 30 game and win the league, that shows that that's where you deserve to be, and that shows the quality you have in the team and the whole players and the coaches too. So it's gonna be one regret, but at the same time, what he has achieved, he can you can close up. but winning the league is the best, you know, in terms of your CV. But he has done so well, so much for Orlando Pirates. You know, as I said earlier, you know, for you to improve players, that's the biggest pride you always have as a coach. You know, so I just feel like, you know, going with his head high, he has dropped. I mean, he has big legacy for Orlando Pirates. They will never forget him as a coach. He's going to be in their history book, you know, for what he has done. And wherever he's going to, I just hope he does better there too. You know. So I just wish him well. You know.
I often tell people that you know, if you want to see some of the things that he has done for Orlando Pirates, you need to be at Orlando Stadium when Pirates play. You feel the atmosphere that is inside the stadium. The Pirates fans fell in love again with the club. And they attend matches, and I think Orlando is the best home ground in South Africa right now, except maybe for Sundowns when they play Champions League, because Sundowns fans always respond to Champions League. It's one of those things that I think will be missing when you go. And like you're saying, we can only wish him well. He's been linked with Al Ahly. If he indeed is going to Al Ahly, that's going to be a big deal for him.
Yeah, for the club like Orlando Pirates to come out to make a statement that he wants to be released earlier in terms of the contract. Yes, elsewhere. So we just wait and see when it's confirmed. But I mean, he has been linked to Al Ahly, and that's a massive one. You know, that's another big step for him. I mean, you can see what he has done at Orlando Pirates and going to Al Ahly. I mean, you know, for Al Ahly to take you as a coach, I mean, you have done something they see that, you know, they can work with. And you know, Al Ahly is a big club in the continent, in Africa. You know, they have produced a lot of good players, and they have done so well, you know, in terms of their Champions League. Maybe they want to win the 13-1 now because they have 12 already. So I feel he can add something to them because the style of play, and he's gonna have the personality there in terms of the personnel that he's gonna use in terms of on the pitch, because you know the Al Ahly, they can buy whoever they want in terms of players, so he can have what he wants, but he just, you know, continue where he left from Pirates and probably win the league there, and probably, you know, there's a World Club Championship. You know, they want, if he goes to Al Ahly, we're saying he's gonna go to that tournament, which is a big one for a coach. You know, his CV is there too, and in terms of Champions League too, that's gonna be a big one too. You know, so I just feel like if he's going to Al Ahly, he's going to the right club.
I think for me, as a journalist, interacting with the coach, he was a bit of a nightmare for us, the journalists, because, you know, he doesn't talk much, and he keeps things very close to his chest. But we definitely enjoyed working with your coach. And as they say in Spanish, adios amigo.
Adios amigo.
So I think maybe as we step off this, obviously we were at the last game against Golden Arrows, and let's hear what the coach had to say after his last match as a Orlando Pirates coach.
Perfect. I mean, I'm not an angel. I'm not. I'm calm and composure, and I try to be as reasonable as possible and reflexive as possible. And like everybody else, I have my shortcuts and my moments where I'm not doing the right things, but I'm the person that I am because, I don't know, I guess like you guys, like everybody else, I'm an accumulation of experiences during my whole life. I had a curious life in many sense. Let's put it in this way. I'm not gonna talk about that right now, but I can tell you that I'm here where I am. I'm not a former football player. I'm not how can I say? I'm coming from the very bottom, and when I tell you the very, very, very bottom is the very, very bottom. I start coaching in the lowest division in my country. Lowest, but lowest is lowest. Until I'm sitting here. So during that process, I have to do a lot of things, you know, to manage to be in the level that I am right now. And that process, you know, humble you and teach you how difficult it is to achieve things in life when you start from the bottom. So if you are thankful, if you appreciate all of those things, then you can manage to be the way I am, the personality that I have, and if I have do a relation about my personality and football, not my personality and my personal life, I think is related with that. The fact that I'm coming from the very bottom, and I'm here because I'm working for it. I'm not here because I got the lottery.
All right. That's it from the coach, former now not former Orlando Pirates coach. We'll see. I'm sure he'll be back in the country sometime,
some stage,
whatever, if he stays on the African continent. But still talking about the African continent, in Esperance, Tunisia, our very own Elias Mokwana has won the league there. When he left here, a lot of people were doubting whether he will make it there. I know his numbers are not that good in terms of goals and assists, but he really has been one of the key players for the team.
Yeah, for me, I think he has done well. From Platinum City, Sekokune, went to Esperance, which is, it's a big step, from Sekokune to Esperance, a big step, and he has shows that, he played 25 games in the league, he's got, as you say earlier, the numbers, he got 3 goals, he scored in the last game, when they won 5-0, they won the league with a game spare, 65 points, they score 57 goals, concede 22. I think for me, he has contributed, well in that team, So sometimes, you can see the runs he make when they play, you can see that he is a player that is well coached, credit must be given to him, going out from the country and win the league, which is ultimate as a player. I'm just so happy for him, and Esperance now, at least he has a medal there now, which is very good for him. Yeah,
and I think we cannot emphasize this enough to say it talks to the fact that maybe players must leave the comfort zone anywhere else on the continent and go try these bigger clubs in North Africa or West Africa or whatever. Just leave the comfort of your comfort zone and go be tested elsewhere.
It's very important, and with the South African League now, even with the coaches, you can see, a lot of North African teams, they want the players, they want the coaches, so it's good for you to test yourself. Sometimes leaving your comfort zone is one of the big steps you have to take. It's not going to be easy, but you have to show yourself for you to be a bigger player, for you to be counted among the greatest. It's like him now in that history of Esperance now, he's going to be there, that one of them that won the league, So I just feel like you need to test yourself as a player, as a coach. Rolani did that, Piso opened the way for a lot of coaches, and players must do that too, and it's good for the country, So because we have a lot of players that come to South Africa, want to add value. You have to add value. Like him now, Mokwena, big value, for them to win the league, So I just feel like it's good for him. It's a good thing for him, and he's coming for him now. He's gonna come back to contribute to the national team, which is one massive big step again.
And also Champions League again next season.
Yeah, true.
Which is very important for his development. I know he's not young anymore. But the more he plays Champions League, the better he's gonna become as a player.
Definitely.
All right. Let's talk football politics now. This week is the 75th FIFA Congress taking place in Paraguay. I must say that it coincides with South America's who are going to host the 2027 Women's World Cup, and they will host some of the matches for the 2030 FIFA World Cup. It's quite a big deal for the country, and just in general terms, at these congresses, this is where the key decisions are taken around.
It's very, because you have to give accounts of what is happening, in FIFA as a committee, everything that is happening, auditors and all those things there, and most especially, going to that Paraguay, close to Brazil, because Brazil is going to host the 27, Women World Cup, which is very, and they just, announced the cities, about 8 cities, which is very important. So he just, come together with the Congress there. And I'm so happy, is sometimes you need to be transparent in everything you do. And FIFA, they're trying to do that now, so which is very important.
One of the things I checked, their what is going to be discussed there, obviously, it will be addressed by the president. They will also discuss the annual report. A lot of people will be focusing on these financial statements. I think,
that is where that is where the money is. Where is it allocated to? In terms of the federation and all those things and how they spend the money. It's very good. I mean, they are giving account of what they are doing, which is very important.
And also, they say there's going to be a report by the FIFA Governance and Audit Compliance Committee. There's a lot of compliance that needs to be met. You have seen a lot here on the continent where some of the national teams cannot play matches at home. There's issues of infrastructure, how national federations are audited. Some of the countries, especially, I'll keep on hopping onto the issue of Africa, where elections are not properly conducted and all those kinds of things. Those issues are going to be discussed there. And the good thing is, African football leaders will also be in the room when those things are discussed. And they must go there and take what is being said there and implement it here back home.
Very important, very important. We have, just last time we have an issue with Zambian, with their FA, but we thank God now they're about to resolve it. Election dates have been fixed. So I mean, that's our problem in Africa. So, but they are going to be there. I hope they learn the good things. Including the financial, things there, because that's one important thing, what you allocate, to the national team, what they need to get, because sometimes we have this situation in Nigeria when a team qualified to a World Cup and what the government, because Nigeria there is the government that allocate money and all those things, but before the tournament or after the tournament, they can't really, there's no accountability and all those things. So I just feel like FIFA, for them to host this now, I think it's a good thing, for African FA president to go and see what is happening and apply it, in African continents.
No, it's very important, also from just football specific. We always see rules being changed and those kind of things, and now
because the new rules now, which involved with the goalkeeper, before when you hold the ball for 6 seconds and the ref can blow, now I mean FIFA try to implement this now. If the ref blow in 6 seconds, like if you hold it longer than 6 seconds, it's gonna be a corner kick. I mean, it gives advantage, for excitement, excitement for this. So there's new rules that we need to, get ourselves, used to, which is very good, and everyone need to agree about that, and it's very important.
But these rules, aren't there too many changes of the rules, man? I mean,
because in football, people really want to see goals. So any way that can bring goals, just the entertainment, to score goals, because when they score, people celebrate. Different time, the same time too, you need to defend. But those rules is just giving advantage to the attacking players, the teams that can attack very well. They want to see more goals. They want to see the game flow. I think sometimes the rules are good, but they have to accept, they need to accept what, the rules are and how they're going to apply it, which is very important. But they need to test it in the leagues first before they take it to the World Cup in the world stage.
I'm sure one of the things that's going to be discussed there will be VAR, because it continues to create so much havoc. I don't think I've discussed this with you, Greg. What is your view on VAR?
It's very important, intense. VAR, everyone, you're going to like it when it favors you. Because some decisions are there for the VAR to see, to help the refs, because not every decision they make which is correct. So sometimes again, but the worst part, the consistency, that's the most important thing. Sometimes you see decision that you see it last week, it's a decision like they take a decision like this, and the other weekend is different. So I think people still make that decision. So I mean, they need to make the correct decision too. Typical example is with the Sundowns in the Champions League semifinal. Riveiro was stripped on the box there. He was stripped there. Any other day, that will be given as a penalty. But, the ref turned it out not to be a penalty. So sometimes it's just consistent in that VAR something which will be very nice. And Africa, we really need it in Africa.
Because most of us, especially, I think maybe going forward in the Champions League, just from
the group stages.
From the group stages, you must have this thing. Because really, a lot of stuff happens in the group stages.
And some teams go out in the group stages because of the decisions,
True. But it's here to stay, and as long as it's here, we'll continue to talk about it, because it can be very, very problematic sometimes.
True.
But the guys at AFCON in Cote d'Ivoire, proof that if you implement VAR correctly,
Yeah.
You can take almost all the decisions right.
True.
Because now sometimes, like we are saying, this week is correct, this week is not correct, or this week is given, next week is not given.
Yeah.
It confuses everybody,
Yeah,
even
true.
the players, because
Yeah.
they don't know what to do now.
True.
And like I'm sure you as coaches, you get even more angry when those things are happening.
Yeah, and the implement, when they talk about like, okay, they say ball to hand, hand to ball, but it's handball in the box. Anywhere on the pitch, you will be given a foul there. So why don't you give it? So there's just those big English they use to confuse us.
Yeah.
But at the same time, as we say, it's people that makes those decisions. I just think they need to be consistent in whatever they do.
All right, coach. They say time flies when you're having a good time. I think we're gonna start wrapping up now.
Okay.
The key thing that came out of the weekend from the Nedbank Cup final, where Chiefs beat Pirates, is that with that win, Chiefs are back in the Confederations Cup on the continent.
Where the big boys are.
Yeah, where the big boys are.
Yeah.
Now they'll be mixing with the big boys.
Yeah.
And if you look at the Confed Cup over the last few years, it has become extremely competitive. Unlike it was before. So it's not a tournament which you can take lightly when you go there.
Yeah, definitely. You have to prepare very well because, everyone wants to win. As far as this continental tournament, everyone wants to win it, and for Chiefs for a very long time, they haven't, they went to Champions League, get to that stage where they get to, but they never won it. And Pirates take over there, and Sundowns, because Sundowns are consistent in the continental football. I think for Chiefs now, this time around, I think it's very important, which is very good for them, we talk about the Nedbank Cup, it's a once-off game. And, we know Chiefs, if they come out with their A game, they can beat any team. It's just the league; they're not consistent in the league. But against Pirates, they did what they need to do, which is to win the cup. They did that. So I just feel like they deserve to win. So they are there now. They have to prepare very well. That's very important. You can qualify for the tournament, but your preparation keep you longer in the tournament and how you treat the tournament, which every South African team now really want to do well. Seeing what Steenbok have done in the tournament, so it give you that chance for you to compete very well.
And you can see Steenbok, a smaller club with a smaller budget and smaller resources, nearly went all the way.
Yeah.
So it means that if Chiefs really do, they are playing very well, and they can really. And they can win it.
They can win it. A lot of players, at Chiefs, they came from, with a big, tag in the back, in terms of good players, and they show it in the final, and Chiefs is just, they have to be consistent in everything. If they can take that form to the league, I think they can do better. But going to the next season, which, they have time to prepare for the league, prepare for other cup games, and prepare for the continental football, which is very important. And they have all the capacity to do that. So they need to plan well, which they will do. So I hope they can go far in that tournament.
Yeah, there's an issue surrounding the coach, whether he's gonna stay, he's gonna go, what is happening. Hopefully, by the time the season starts, they are organized and they're well set up, and the team has been boosted a little bit and all those kinds of things, so that they can really have a go. But now with Chiefs, the season is not finished. Still 2 matches to go. I guess the challenge now is to make sure that they finish in the top 8, because I just have a sense that if they don't do that, it will really, really dampen the spirit of everyone in the Nedbank Cup.
First of all, you want them to win something, which they have done that now. So as a player or as a technical team, you want consistent from the player. If they can do that against a big team like Orlando Pirates, so they have to be in the top 8. Doing being in the top 8, you need to win games. So they have 2 games left now. I think they need to put everything, for them to win it. But how their reaction now after the cup final is going to be very important. You're going to see what they do, which other teams will prepare for them too, because other teams are fighting for other position, either the continental football or staying in the top 8, or escaping relegation. So I just feel like, what they do next after the final now is going to be very important. You see the mentality of the players. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, all right. I guess that's where we're going to have to leave it. But before we go, very caught up with Vilakazi, the young Chiefs player who is with the national team under 20 in Egypt. Just reflecting on the significance of this tournament. Then when we come back, we'll come and wrap it up. We're going to have to shake our hands about Thursday.
On Thursday, yeah. 5 o'clock, yeah.
5 o'clock, yeah. But let's hear what Obrigado had to say about Chiefs winning the Nedbank Cup.
Mfundo, I know that you're in camp here. We're talking AFCON, but how would you describe how has been the past 24 hours?
The past 24 hours beyinhle kakhulu kithi because siyazi ukuthi team enkulu win the trophy after such a long time.
Imnane kuwena lento because I'm sure lento le ibini stressa especially inani bancane nabomdu.
Yeah, yona ibi stressa kakhulu because of abanye bethu bebashela ukuthi wena Chiefs yagcina ukwini trophy una 5 Orona 10 konke la samba khona bashela ukuthi win ma trophy win next nani. So I think Joe waswinile manje kuzoba into enkulu nathi sizosiboost confidence ukuthi siqhubeke sikwazi ukwina namanye ama game.
And futhi uma uyibona ukuthi into yenjena yenzeka at a time when nina abo Wandile abomdu and nine input or impact eningi lapha eteamini.
Yeah, I think thina nabomdu nabo Wandile sine impact eningi lapha eteamini because mongathatha ukubheka ama game amaningi if Wandile akakore ya assist, if umuntu akakore ya assista nami ngingenile ngesiteleni boshi ngakora. So yeah, I think siyayisiza team mele siqhubeke sisebenza kanzima.
So ukutshela ukuthi medal yakho uzayithola?
Bangibekele yona i-safe la khona. Mina nje mele ngifocus la ngikhona manje, then isifocus ku-semifinal. I think mele sifocus ku-game ne-game.
I'm sure with what has happened back home, it has inspired you ukuthi you must show your level. You had an assist in the previous game. Ungathi yini ebonakale kahle kakhulu kunina maniza kule game quarter final? You top your group and futhi ever since saluza ku Egypt asiphindanga sabuyele emuva, yini eshintshile?
I think from game Egypt it was a wake up call for us because kusuka ku Kosafa besingakhonsidanga goal, sabuya sazodlala ama friendly neBotswana ayithuna, sawina uyithuna. So I think besicabanga ukuthi it's going to be easy what. So I think lose le Egypt yes sizile kakhulu ukuthi sibe slice khona namhlanje because after lose Egypt we won 1-0 against Tanzania, then we won 4-1 against Sierra Leone, and then izolo sadlala i-draw neZambia.
And finally, I'm sure you had an assist in the last game. Igoli yeza for sure.
Igoli yeza kumelanga sijahe. Ayizimilanga sijahe as long as i-team win, i-team yenza kahle, igoli izozela ngesikhathi esi-right. But into engisho ukuthi la igoli izoza khona crack, it's hope.
Sure.
Alright, to see the young man is happy. Unfortunately, he was not there with his teammates, but he's on national duty.
Yeah.
I guess you have represented your country. You know what it means to be out there with the national team.
It's very important.
They also did it for him.
Yeah.
Hopefully, he will do it for them.
No.
By beating Nigeria,
he must come now. He must come and touch the trophy that they won for him. No, it's time for it. It's time for them to come home. Fly Eagles, it's gonna be a very tough game, But I just feel, now they can just start packing their load now.
Yeah, is that it?
No, it's
Fly Eagles book the tickets.
Fly Eagles want to go to Chile as a champion of Africa. Yeah.
And you bet that's going to happen.
South Africa have done their job. Yeah. What they need to do to qualify to Chile, they have done it.
Okay.
I give credit to the boys. They have done it, the preparation before they get there and how they maneuver and get the result, which is very important. But the most important thing for you to go to the World Cup, but for now, they must start coming back home.
So are you coming to watch the game with me, or must I come to your house?
No.
You don't want to watch it with me?
We just meet next week.
You don't want to watch the match with me?
No, I need to get my space. I need to know what these boys are doing.
You're scared. I'm not going to ask for predictions, but I'm sure we can shake
No.
And then we'll see.
You can welcome them at the airport on Friday. On Friday, you can go to the airport.
This is the big one. Yeah.
I think
it's a match that... it's got its own issues because of the rivalry between the two countries.
Yeah.
I just hope the boys are not caught up
in that space.
In this thing of South Africa.
No, they will not be caught up. They will just come back home. So that's what they will just come back home because it's Flying Eagles, man.
Yeah, because you coaches always say the players must not play the occasion, but just go there and play the match.
Yeah.
It is going to be a big one.
Massive one. It's going to be a very massive one.
It's going
to be a massive one. It's going to be a very good game to watch because the two teams are exciting to watch. And we're going to see very good football.
All right, and in closing, I think when we come back next season, it's 90% chance that we'll be singing ole, 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 ole for Sundowns because they are on the verge of winning the league title. And let's see how that goes. And when you come back next season, maybe you need to find a former Chiefs legend from the continent who's in South Africa to come and, a former Sundowns legend. Who's from the continent, who's in the country. So that we can do a very nice wrap of the Sundowns season because they've really been...
they have really shown, taking South African football high places in terms of the league, in terms of the continental football, in terms of the cup games. They have done so much for the league, in terms of the consistency they have been. And now being the finals, we hope they can take it because they have gone so far, We just hope one, South African club can take it, which, Sundowns is there and they have a chance. It's a once-off game, it's a final, anything can happen.
When they go to the Champions League against Pyramids, first at home on the 24th.
And they go.
And then
you can wrap it at home. At home, you can, Sundowns, they have that, they have that capability to win games. So at home, you have, their strikers, they have top strikers in their disposal, so they can win the game at home. If they can win comfortable at home, going to Egypt, I think it's just, formality there.
All right. I guess that's where we're going to have to leave it. This has been another episode of African Football Connect with my coach, Greg Etafia, a former Super Eagle, currently the goalkeeper coach of TS Galaxy in South Africa. Mambush tells me a funny story that he used to kill him every time.
No, he's a top striker. Mambush is a top striker. Those days you have a Chuku, you have Mambush, Dennis Lotta. There's a lot of top
Wilfred
strikers.
Mugay, Silver Fox.
South Africa, you talk about the older generation, what they have achieved and what they have done, and with the new generation taking over now, I think South African football is in the right hands, in terms of the continental football.
All right, we hope you enjoyed this show, and as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you, we're coming to you live from the Calabash, and as we always say, Jambo Africa.